Hmm.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Boob. We are so excited to be here with you guys this lovely Tuesday night. As always, I have Dominique, our kind IBCLC, with me, and tonight we have a special guest, Elisabeth. Um, she
Hello.
is she is visiting with us from Baby Buddha, but you may also recognize her from her personal page, 1 ounce at a time. But Elisabeth, I'll let you give a quick little introduction of yourself if you don't mind.
Oh, sure. So, hi, mamas. As I was introduced, my name is Elisabeth Anderson Sierra, and I am representing the Baby Buddha Company tonight. The Baby Buddha Company is this incredible breast pump right here. This is their main product. And I think we'll touch on it a little bit later. But I also do run my own social media channels called 1 ounce at a time, and it's kind of a motherhood support hub. And I kind of talk about my personal medical condition of hyperlactation and just kind of help encourage and empower mothers to be really proud of their journey, no matter what it looks like.
Yeah,
That's
so if
all.
you're not familiar with that, then look it up. It's great. And Elizabeth, I know, uses Kind pouches as well, so she's
Yes,
really
I
familiar
do.
with our brand as well. So we're excited to have her with us tonight. And I think we're going to kick stuff off right quick with a quick um with a quick run through of our new pump bag. So if you didn't see, we did launch a new pump bag this week, and we are really excited to show it off to you guys. You may, if you're a member of Kind Community, you may remember that we did a poll a little while back to see what color zippers you would prefer, and gold zippers won. So you'll see those on the bag. And then a quick reminder that the 20% off launch sale ends tonight. So if you want to take advantage of that launch sale, then that ends tonight. So this is Emma, and she is
Hi
another
guys.
member of Team Kind. She's going to show you off kind of a little bit of the inside of the bag and what can fit in it and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so here we are. So starting off right in the front, there's the laptop pocket. I'm just gonna pull that out here. And this fits most 13-inch laptops and under, or tablets. So it's a nice size and you can fit practically anything in there. And then on the inside, we have pockets for all of your pen needs, etc. I'm just gonna pull everything out and then I'll show you the bag itself. So we have pens and pencils, keys, take this around for you. And then we also have, chapstick, lipstick, lotion, everything that you kind of, usually is just kind of hanging out in your bag, can have a little home here in these pockets right
It's
here.
nice because it can so you don't have to carry 10 bags.
Exactly.
Put everything in the one.
And then inside we have this SLKN because we have our free starter pack is coming with every pump bag. And so that fits nicely in there as well. Take that out here so I can show you better these inside pockets here. So we have 3 pockets at the top that kind of fit your pens, pencils, keys, lotion, all of those things. We can also have notebook, wallet, other notebook, agenda, calendar, all of those things, Kind bottle. And then the fun part is these side pockets here. We have pump pocket on this side, which fits Spectra standard, most of your standard pumps. It has a little spot here for pump wipes as well. And then the neat part is that you can charge your pump completely secretly. And so you can have your pump stashed in the pump pocket and then pull the charger. We have the holes in the pockets on the inside that the charger pulls through. So you can plug this into the wall and just have your bag resting there in the wall. So you can discreetly charge your pump without, kind of having it out, letting it get dirty, infected, all of those sorts of things. Then on the flip side, we have the cooler pocket, which would be the insulated pocket where you can keep your milk that you've pumped, which has space for, here, I'll take some of these out. These filled, they would be standing up here like this. Take these out here too. Sorry, there's so much stuff I can't even keep track of it.
Yeah, it's
They'd be
okay.
standing like this. And then we have the cooler pocket here and then a cooler pocket in the back so that everything can stay cool, so your milk doesn't spoil, so that you can know safely that you can keep everything that you need in one bag and not have to be carrying a cooler and a purse and your work bag, briefcase, all those sorts of things.
Yes, it's an all-in-one. And the cooler pocket that Emma was just showing off is insulated and can hold ice packs. So you don't have to carry an extra cooler or anything like that. It's not like a traditional, like, say, diaper bag cooler, because it does have room for the ice packs. So it may last a little bit longer. So we're really excited about it. It's really nice quality. Emma, do you mind like standing up with it so people can see kind of how it fits on a person? Just right quick.
Here.
I know we've had some questions about that this week, so.
Yes, definitely, and I want to show. So here, let me just go like this. So it's over the shoulder here, on the side.
Yeah, so it's really nice size. Not much bigger than a traditional work bag. So you're not going to be adding a lot of bulk or anything like that with the bag. So we're really excited about it. Like I said, if you haven't already ordered yours, today is the last day to take advantage of the 20% off. I did see a question about the price. It will be $39.99 is the price. And so right now until midnight tonight or 11:59, you can get that 20% off. So yeah. So thanks, Emma, for hopping on to show that to us.
Thanks, guys.
So we're really excited about the bag. So that's the bag, and thanks for bearing with us while we showed that off tonight, guys. I know that's a little bit of a deviation from our normal kind of thing.
Or it ties right in. It ties right in. I was looking at that pump bag, and first of all, I want one. And second of all, I would use the cooler side for milk, of course, but since I use the baby Buddha pump, I would use the pump side most likely for snacks, to be honest. And then I would probably put my pump like right where she had the starter kit.
Yeah, like in the pocket or in one of those little pockets or something. Yeah, it's really like you can do kind of whatever. You could stick your lunch in there. I don't know. Whatever you need.
That bag. I don't have any like need for it. I just want it because I can stuff stuff in it.
That's right. You
could make a great IBCLC bag too, right?
Right. Yeah, because I can literally I carry a huge duffel bags when I do my consultation. That could definitely fit all of my stuff, and it's more stylish than what I am currently carrying around too. So maybe I might grab that bag.
Right.
You should.
It's a good one.
My water bottle in the cooler part.
Yes, that would be a great idea. You could put probably those little water bottles.
Yeah, the little cute ones that are like that big.
So we're really, really excited about it. Like we said, Kind Community picked those gold zippers, which is really fun to have that. So last thing I'll say is just one more reminder about the 20% off sale ending tonight. And then we will start jumping into our questions. So I think the first question that we had was about boosting a dipping supply at 8 months postpartum. So, Dominique, do you want to talk about that just a little bit?
Sure. It's definitely possible to boost your supply. It just kind of depends on the situation of what's going on. Usually around 8 months, mom's already back to work. So if you are in a work situation where where you can't pump often, then I would suggest talking to your supervisor or the HR so that you can get the necessary amount of pump breaks that you need, so that you can continue emptying the breast as frequently as you need to, and that'll automatically boost your supply there. Some women start their cycles around this time too. So if that is the case, if your supply has dipped because of you starting your menstrual cycle, then taking calcium, magnesium supplement daily, particularly around the time of ovulation, will help to boost your supply and kind of counteract that dip that happens while you are on your cycle. And also too, around this time, we've been using our pumps for at least, this long. And sometimes those pump parts kind of wear and tear. So check your pump parts. Are your membranes still intact? Are they still sticking to the necessary pieces? Or if you have those duckbill membranes, are they like have a little gap at the bottom, or is it still shut? Check your tubing. Sometimes when we're just washing and tossing those tubes around, they get little nicks in them. Sometimes they're full of water, and all those things can significantly decrease your supply. So check your pump parts. Make sure your membranes are great and there's no holes in your tubing, and that'll help your supply as well once those things are fixed. And then also too, there's just a normal um, situation where moms just don't respond as well to the pump, around this time as well. So for moms that are hitting a wall, what we call it with breastfeeding, sometimes I just encourage those moms to maybe when they get home to add like, one pumping session, while you're at home from work, and then over the weekends when you're off, to kind of help give your supply an extra boost and to give you some extra in the freezer for when you go back to work.
I think those
Those
are
are
all,
usually all my suggestions.
yes, all great suggestions. Elizabeth, as somebody who works with a pump and pumps frequently, what kind of suggestions would you give for maybe just optimizing that pump output so that, we know there is some normal regulation around the 8 and 9 month period. You may start to see
Yes.
less. Like Dominique said, you may get kind of used to the pump. So what would your suggestion be to kind of, I guess, beat that?
Yes. So I actually call this the pump plateau. Many moms hit this wall. I have hit this wall more than one time, more than 3 times, even in my journey. I currently am 3 years and over a month postpartum from my last live birth. And so I have definitely hit that plateau. And some of the things that I recommend are, again, like switching up your components, making sure that everything is replaced, but also make sure that you're using maybe the best out there. I know that duckbills can vary by the brand, whether you get them from your pump company or if you're getting them on Amazon. Maybe try out a different duckbill. Maybe try something out that might be a little stronger or different. But I also just recommend switching up your pump settings. I tell moms, imagine going to the gym and doing the same thing every single day. You will get so great at what you do, it no longer serves you because your body is used to that. And the same thing goes with pumping. We are working out our bodies, essentially. We are pumping on the daily, and we can definitely plateau there. So change up your settings. Maybe like do things in complete reverse from what you've been doing. If you've never power pumped, definitely throw that in there. Or even just adding in a hand pump and putting it on your counter. And then every time you pass it, give it a couple pumps. And then once you get an ounce or so, put it in the refrigerator, for example. So
Yeah.
change something up.
Those are all really, really great tips. I think even I didn't think about like doing the hand pump trick or anything like that. That's why I love having when we are able to have guests on, we all still learn from each other,
Exactly.
even as
Exactly.
professionals. So it's really great. So this question is from Felicia. When does milk supply start to regulate? I've heard it's between 6 and 12 weeks postpartum. So I think we have multiple regulations during kind of our breastfeeding journey. So within the first couple of when your milk first transitions from that colostrum to mature milk, your body's in like overdrive mode, right? Like make all the milk. And then around 2 weeks postpartum, our body starts to recognize like, okay, I'm feeding just one baby, or if you have multiples, maybe more than one, but however many babies that you're feeding, and it kind of slows down a little bit. And then, we see another common regulation about 4 months. And please, you two hop in if you feel like I'm missing anything. 4 months, again, maybe when your baby starts solids, again, that 8 to 9 months. So our body's kind of it's a very ebb and flow process as our babies, as we're following our baby's lead. But I would say the general regulation is right there about 16 weeks postpartum, at that 4 month mark is kind of when the shift from really hormonal production to more supply and demand starts to take over. Would you agree?
There could be also some additional like regulation influences from things like birth control, or getting
Absolutely.
your period back early, or maybe you didn't nurse or pump for a whole day for whatever reason, and you've really kind of disrupted those cycling hormones. And so those types of things can definitely disrupt a little bit.
Yes. Dominique, did you have anything to add? Did we miss anything?
Well, no, I think that's pretty much it, really. Yeah, it's just, it switches over from being hormonal to supply and demand somewhere around that 2 to 3 week mark. But generally, we are going back to work at that 6 week mark. So we've kind of pumped ourselves into an oversupply while we're on maternity leave because we're trying to save up milk, right? And then we're not pumping or nursing as frequently when we go back to work. So it may seem like our supply is dipping, but it's just regulating to what we're doing. And then again, that 4 month mark, again,
Right.
some people start to go back to work around that time too. And it's a normal regulation from all the extra stuff you were doing as
Right.
well. But I think
Yeah.
those are all good points.
So ebbs and flows. So this question for Mara is talking about, the cycle that we have already kind of touched on, but says, my son turned 4 months today and I started my period. I noticed my supply started to severely dip. Once my period leaves, will my supply return? So Dominique, you already talked a little bit about taking the calcium or magnesium supplement, but what would you say about, bouncing back, those kinds of things?
And normally, yes. Once your cycle is done, then in a few days your supply will come back. That's under normal circumstances, right? So, and we know sometimes we don't live our life in normal circumstances. So, I would just continue to nurse and pump as you are. But again, if you notice that you have a dip in your supply during your cycle, start taking that magnesium calcium supplement. If you know when you're ovulating, take it a couple of days before ovulation. If you have no idea when you ovulate, just take it every day. It won't hurt you. Women are naturally low in these minerals anyway, thus why the dip is happening.
Well,
So
and magnesium can also be a great mental health booster.
that's right.
So,
Yep. It's good for regulating your mental health, your digestive health,
right.
and your
Kind of
milk
does it
supply.
all.
That's right. So magnesium is wonderful and calcium is great too. We stop absorbing calcium after a certain point in our life. I think for women, it's like around age 25 or something like that. So having extra calcium just floating around in our bodies is really good anyway. So taking a calcium magnesium supplement is something easy, very cheap you can do. And taking it every day doesn't hurt. In fact, it has lots of benefits. And then you may notice for your next, it won't do anything for this supply because it's already happened. But for the next cycle, you may notice that you will not have a dip at all. Or if you still have a dip, which means you probably need to take more calcium magnesium, it will be a small one and it will bounce back a lot quicker.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, always talk to your doctor before starting anything new. But I think most are, they can give you, dosage information and all that kind
Yeah.
of, good stuff. So this question is from Kira. I always we're nervous I'm going to butcher people's names, but talking about pumping when you have a newborn. So I've been told two different things. Do you or do you not pump in the early stages of having a newborn when engorged? Elisabeth, what's your take? How do you feel about pumping in the newborn stage?
I personally firmly believe in a mother's body and her choice to her milk, as long as it's supported and informed. I think many moms on social media see other moms pumping at birth and think that they need to do that. And really what needs to happen first is an evaluation of what you kind of want to see in your journey. If you want to be exclusively nursing, if you are going back to work and you'll need to introduce pumping, or if you want to exclusively pump. I do firmly believe in a mom kind of doing some research into that and kind of figuring out what she wants to do. So when you have a newborn and you're engorged, with all of those crazy hormone feedback receptors going on, it's very easy to get an oversupply in those early days. And so it's really important to kind of gauge if you really need to pump, if some hand expression would be good, or if latching baby is better. But it's kind of one of those things that if you start down that road and you don't want to be pumping, you might end up pumping and you don't want to. So
Right. You can kind of trick your body into, I like to say, trick your body into feeding two babies, the pump
right.
and
It's
the
for
baby.
some,
Yes, for
not for
some.
everybody.
No.
But for some, it is really easy to do. For me, it was, I mean, not the same, but
Right.
ridiculously easy.
Right.
So yeah, just it kind of depends. Like if you want to have some stash and you're really engorged and you just need relief, then absolutely hand express it, save it. You might need it later. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think, something that can be really important to throw in here is find yourself a lactation professional. Even if you just talk to them through email, like you can always email Dominique at lc@kind.com. Some professionals like Elisabeth run support groups on Facebook that you can find. We have Kind Community, of course, or you may be able to find somebody that's local to you that you can see in person, but they can help you if you're feeling really overwhelmed in those decision-making processes. They can really help you make decisions and make a plan for each particular scenario so that you feel a little bit more confident in kind of what you're walking into.
I want to say, like, especially like if you're like if you're a first time mom, you're already dealing with so much with birth and postpartum and learning to latch, and then adding a pump in there, that's really complex and complicated for first timers. I remember my first time, and it was just a lot.
Yes,
So
it's so
don't put
many.
more on your plate than than you can handle
Yes,
also.
absolutely. Absolutely. That's great advice. This question from Crystal says, should I always feed my baby on both sides, or is it okay to pump the side he doesn't eat from? Definitely you can pump that side. If your baby's not nursing that side, then if you want to pump it, you can. If you don't want to pump it, you don't have to. It's a pretty simple one. Some moms, depending on your situation, may need to pump that side, if you're having to maybe double feed or things like that. But again, like Elisabeth had just said, it really is up to the mom on that.
Yes.
This
I
question,
always suggest nursing both sides. It just kind of helps regulate things better and prevents overly sleepy newborns in the beginning days too. So
right,
that's
always
always
offer.
something.
Yeah, always
Yeah.
offer.
If you're trying to build up a supply, pumping the opposite breast after feeding is a great way to stash away for going back to work specifically.
Yeah. And some people will, just pump through their letdown and then offer that side to baby, whatever. You really
Yeah.
can do what feels best. This question from Jamie says, today we found out our 2-month-old has thrush. I breastfeed and was wondering if I can get it from her. If so, how do I prevent myself from getting thrush? Dominique, I will let you take the lead on that one. That is more your scope than mine.
She likely got it from you. So that's usually how it works. So you just may be asymptomatic, and what that means is that you're just not experiencing any symptoms. So you guys definitely can pass it back and forth to each other. And honestly, she probably got it from you, and she's just presenting with symptoms. So the best thing I can tell you is to start taking a very good probiotic. Um, and you can get one for the baby as well. They do make infant probiotics that you can give. So you can talk to a lactation professional to see which one's best, or your doctor or the baby's doctor. And then you need to talk to your OB about getting proper treatment for thrush. And then you need to call your baby's pediatrician and to get the proper treatment for thrush in that case. And I always suggest that if you are using bottles or pacifiers in your bras, to wash those in white vinegar, like in the regular, in the tub, or not tub, in the sink, or like in the washing machine, white vinegar daily. And if if a sunny day, let those things, dry out in the sun or next to a very or a window sill that gets a lot of light in, because sunlight kills fungus, which is why you always find it in dark, moist places.
Like bras.
That's right, like bras.
I always think about that. I'm like, it's like the perfect scenario.
Yeah. Baby's mouth and mommy's boobs are perfect for harboring that thrush. And then just be patient with yourself, because you may need about 2 bouts of treatment for the thrush, because usually the main treatment they use is nystatin, which is great at getting rid of it, but it also feeds it too. So you may need to be treated twice. So, if it doesn't go away right away, it's totally fine. Just start the treatment again. But if you take that probiotic, start taking it daily, you and baby, that and washing the stuff and that white vinegar with some hot water, that will help to get rid of it as well.
Yes. That's a great question. And this question from Mousy says, what's the best way to wean off pumping? Elisabeth, I'll let you start on that one. You have all the pumping experience.
I do, but I've been actively pumping for 5 years. So the best way that I've found to help mothers with weaning off pumping is to gradually expand the time in between your pumping sessions. And then as long as you're not getting clogs or mastitis, maybe cut down on the length of your pumping sessions as well. And then you can still add like hand expression at the end of a pumping session. There's also, you could try, if you're really sensitive to things like peppermint or things like that. Some moms are, and some moms definitely aren't. You could try peppermint or like the cabbage trick, which does work for some and doesn't for others, but there's no real like scientific studies behind that.
Right. And I think, you kind of have to just kind of trust your body and listen to your body on that time spreading. If you try to say go, an hour longer and you get a clogged duct, like scale it back and try and go 20 minutes longer or whatever, because you don't want to, clogged ducts and mastitis are just something you really don't want to encourage if you don't
Right.
if you don't
Those
have
stuff can
to.
land you in the hospital if you're not careful.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just like listen to yourself. So this will
I've definitely
probably
been there.
yeah. Unfortunately, I think many of us have. This will probably be our last question, and then I'm going to let Elisabeth give us a little bit of information on baby Buddha. But we'll grab this question from Nay: is cluster feeding or scheduled feeding better? So the answer that I always give is follow your baby, don't watch the clock. So cluster
Right.
feeding is normal. It's good. It's the normal process generally of how a baby needs to eat and what our body needs to make milk. Of course, if you feel like, if your baby is feeding constantly and never ever satisfied, or you're not seeing the diapers you need or not gaining weight, that's something to talk to your lactation professional about. But generally, cluster feeding is a good thing. Although we all as mothers can attest to the exhaustion that is cluster feeding, it's a good thing. When we schedule feedings, then I used to kind of tell moms, when baby cluster feeds, it's like putting an order, like you can think it's like calling Pizza Hut and saying, I want a pizza in 6 months. I need that pizza to be there in 6 months. So every time that baby cluster feeds, they're ordering a feed 6 months down the road. So if they miss that order, then later on down the road, it can be harder for your supply to remember. That was something I was taught and kind of stuck in my head. So I like to share that. So generally, and I think the other two ladies with me would agree, that feeding on demand is your best option, but I will let Dominique and Elisabeth give their opinions on that as well.
I always recommend feeding on demand because you have no idea what your breast storage capacity is. And all that means is how much milk can your breast hold before it starts to get rid of it. And so if somebody told you your baby only needs to eat every 4 hours and that's it, but your storage capacity is every 2 hours, your supply is going to dip very quickly. And your body communicates to your baby what the storage capacity is, which is how some babies can nurse, fewer times, and some babies need to nurse more frequently because your body has told that. So I never recommend scheduling feeds with babies, especially new babies that are trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening. And then also too, I like to tell moms, how would you feel if somebody told you you cannot eat until this time, even though you're hungry? You'd feel some kind of way. You'd be upset. You'd be mad. Why can't I eat? And babies are no different. If their belly is hungry, they're not trying to manipulate. They're trying to say, hey, I'm hungry. They don't know that they ate 20 minutes ago.
Or they might be thirsty.
Or they might be thirsty.
Uncomfortable.
That's right.
They want to be close to mom. There's so many,
Right. So they don't know those things. And it's not fair to tell them, hey, you just did this, you can't do it again for XYZ hours. They don't understand that. So it's better to just feed on cue, feed on demand, follow your baby's lead. But if you are worried and concerned, like Erin said, call your lactation professional, meet with them, let them see your baby nurse so that they can see if this is normal or if it's not normal.
Absolutely. Did you have anything to add to that, Elisabeth?
No, not really. I mean, also like feeding on command, but also at least my boobs tell me when it's also time to feed that baby.
Right. Yes, again, you don't want to end up with a clog or or
The
something.
baby has been sleeping, and you're like, has it really been 2.5
Yes.
hours, 3 hours?
That's it.
Oh my goodness, let's
The
nurse.
boobs say yes.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Listen to the boobs too.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes. Well, thank you for all your questions. Quickly, I want to thank Elisabeth for joining us and for Baby Buddha for sponsoring tonight. And I want to give Elisabeth a chance to show the Baby Buddha pump to you guys in case you're not familiar. It's a really great pump, especially if you're looking for something compact. It's literally about this big.
Yeah, it's this big.
So it can
Like-
go in your pocket.
You know
Yes.
what it kind of looks like? It looks like an insulin pump.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
really
kind of.
tiny. Yeah,
Yes.
that's cool.
And
They
I
didn't
think
have great things like this when I
you
was
can, I've even
nursing.
seen some moms like hang it on a lanyard, but I'll let
Yes.
Elisabeth tell us all about it.
Yeah, so this is the Baby Buddha pump. Try and keep it in the camera here. If you go to My Baby Buddha on Facebook, their Facebook page, there's a pinned video. It's actually me from about a year ago. I have to update it. But I am unboxing this pump, and I'm going through many of the different components that it can be used with. One thing that really, like, I've been pumping for 5 years. I own most major breast pumps on the market. I'm sitting in my workroom, and I probably have at least 65 pumps in this room alone. And I
Sounds
do
like my
use this
workroom.
pump. I love this workroom. All above my head is just pumps. But I have been using this pump exclusively for over a year. I do love it. I do highly recommend it. And my number one reason why, actually there's two reasons, but my number one reason is the versatility of this pump. The fact that you can use the components it comes with, which, by the way, this is a Kiinde adapter, the wide mouth adapter, and you can just screw on a Kiinde bag on the bottom. But you can also hack the Baby Buddha pump to be able to use whatever components you want. This is the Medela with the Kiinde adapter, which I personally use Medela parts with my Baby Buddha pump. But you can also use Freemie cups, you can use Spectra components, you can use Amita, Lancino, like all of these different brands you can use with the Baby Buddha pump. And most of the hacks are available up on the website. And yeah, I really love this pump. And then the second reason that I love it is that it does have the highest suction strength out on the market. And for me, I was absolutely hitting those plateaus with the Spectra. I was using suction level 12. I was turning the Medela all the way up, and I just wasn't getting the same response. The further postpartum you get, it can become increasingly difficult to respond to pumps or, something like that. It's a fake baby. It is not the real thing. And so we have to manipulate our bodies into achieving these letdowns and responding. And the Baby Buddha was able to do that for me. It was able to extend my breastfeeding journey because it has been able to sustain the needs of stimulating a letdown and getting all of the milk out.
Yeah, we hear so many great things. And like Elisabeth said, because you can use any, like we're compatible with Medela or Spectra, all those things. But you can use it with Kiinde just out of the box, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
With that wide mouth.
Yeah, this is a Baby Buddha component, and this is the wide mouth adapter from Kiinde.
Right. So yeah, so it's really great. And Baby Buddha was so generous to give us a code tonight. So if you would like to purchase one of the Baby Buddha pumps, if you're interested in it, you can use the code KINDE, KIINDE 15 for 15% off. Do you know how long that code is running for, Elisabeth?
Yes, so it's good for 48 hours. So I believe that it expires February 20.
Yeah, today's the 18th. So February 20 would be 2 days.
Okay, yes, so
Yeah.
February 20th. I believe at midnight Eastern Standard Time, since that's where the company is based out of.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us. As always, if you have any questions that we didn't answer, keep putting them in the comments and we'll be in there answering. Like Elisabeth said, Baby Buddha is on social media as My Baby Buddha. So if you see that, don't let it confuse you. That's what they are. So you can, of course, ask them any questions that you have as well. And just a reminder about our free starter pack offer. You can always get that free breastfeeding starter pack. You can find that on our Facebook page, and it's going across the screen here now. And one last reminder that if we didn't answer your question here, we don't get to it, you don't feel comfortable posting it in the comments, it's a little more personal, then please send us an email to elsie@kiinde.com and Dominique will be sure to answer your questions. She's really great with those. And then we just popped it up on the screen here, but today is that last day for 20% off of the pump bag. So that was a lot of information, as it always is in one live. So please feel free to ask us any questions that you have, send us a message, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys next time. And thanks again for joining us, Elisabeth.
Bye.
You're welcome. Bye, mamas.
Oh, hey, Aaron. Did we get a winner?
Oh, thank you, Dominique. Yes, I'm so sorry. My brain is, yes. Our live gift set winner. I did pick that winner, and the winner for the twist gift set is Alicia Dunham. So Alicia Dunham, send us a message on Facebook or send us an email to support@kiinde.com and we will get you your gift set. Thank you for reminding me, Dominique. My brain is just, the long weekends always throw me off. All day I've felt like it was a Monday. So anyway, so yes, send us that email and we'll make sure that you get your gift set. So yes, one more time, thank you so much for joining us and we will see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.